Hello, and welcome to another weekly reading. This is going to be an exciting week, to be sure, and I was already feeling a little anxious trying to calm myself down before doing this reading because today, Monday, the 7th of the 7th, Uranus moves into Gemini for the first time in around 84 years, and it's going to drastically change the energy in the zeitgeist, to be honest. And he's been in stubborn, resistant Taurus for the last 7 years. And he hasn't been able to get the traction that he usually would get. And in Gemini, change and movement are no longer going to be an issue for him. So I have got very grounding fabric. I am using very grounding crystals because one thing Uranus in Gemini is not going to be as grounded. And it will be quite easy for our nervous systems to dysregulate. I'm using the very hardy frankincense. That is a tough little resilient plant that grows in the desert and is rooted in spite of all of the challenging things and grows in spite of all of the challenging circumstances and environment. And cypress, which stretches really nice and tall but has deep roots as well, which is very much Uranus is like an antenna to other experiences, other realms, higher dimensions, and higher mind. We also had Venus stepping in just before Uranus on Saturday, I think. Saturday, I think, into Gemini, just ahead of Uranus. And so for me, she's sprinkling rose petals and dandelions to kind of pave the way for a positive entry for Uranus. And then on the 10th, we have the full moon in Capricorn, of which I have not yet done the forecast. That's on my to-do today list. And that's a grounding energy. Capricorn is a grounding sign to just help us with that. Not to mention, on Sunday, we will have Saturn stationing retrograde. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, so he'll be basically stationary already by the time we have that Capricorn moon, and stationing retrograde in Aries for the first time. So, with all that said, let's dive into this card reading. Remember to pick a number between 1 and 4, and that is going to give you a slightly more personal slant, but this is not a personal reading. If you want a personal reading, please do get in touch with me. Now, pick a number, we're diving in, and I could not love this reading more. Okay, big picture. Let's just get them a little closer together. There you go, big picture. And two major arcana cards. We've got the World and we've got the Sun. We've got the Queen of Cups, which is a court card, and we've got an Ace of Swords. I mean, this is Uranus entering Gemini with a bang. Also, I want you to notice the look. This lady may have open eyes. It's a little hard to tell, okay? But look at her body posture. Open arms, open heart, open throat chakra, head turned upwards. Look at her. Closed eyes. So I think they all have closed eyes, potentially not this one. But other than the closed eyes, look at this. Open throat, looking upwards. Open heart, open hands and palms, open throat, gazing upwards, but with her third eye more than her physical eyes because they are closed, and same posture. Can you believe it? Look at that. I mean, they are all in pretty much the same posture. And then they are all upright as well. So upright, these two are forward facing with this kind of, to us in the read, as we look at the reading. Ace of Wands has got a forward as in looking straight at the reader. This one is facing forward as in to face the future. And the Sun is kind of with what's happened before, but mainly upwards. So just look at the energy of that. Also, our two court cards that we have are not court cards. Our two major arcana cards are really big ones. They're really like lucky, well done kind of cards. Look at the radiating energy lines around this. The energy is going everywhere. The circle around her, which in the traditional Rider-Waite tarot is a Ouroboros, the snake that eats his tail. So it's a continuous cycle. And the circle is a feminine shape by nature because the energy radiates as you see it here in all directions. Whereas maybe an obelisk or an arrow, they have focal directional trajectory. With the more feminine circular or sphere or orb shape, it radiates equally in all directions. You can see that happening here. You can see there is a bit of extra grounding root energy coming down here due to the work she's doing within the circle and that extra channeling down and up energy. Okay, then we have that spiraling staircase of her mind and that energy focusing out and up quite deeply. And we have here, in terms of the energy lines, she is sitting on a throne of water. She is halfway immersed in the water, and she is this reflective conduit. But you can see the energy channeling from the water up, from the above down, and you can see it channeling through her hands, her heart. And here, complete solar energy. So we would look at Queen of Cups more as lunar energy in many ways, because it is water and the tides and the oceans, and the moon controls that. Remember, we have a full moon, and so she is fully in the water and experiencing this channeling of lunar energies, silvery lunar energies. And this one, I mean, we don't even need to explain that it is a solar energy card and one of the luckiest in the deck. And that golden light of the sun. And look at those rays again, swirling in all directions, a little bit more looking like a sunflower or a lion's mane. And so it has more of that sun golden energy. And then the swords is a very much an air card, which is the mental, the intellectual. And Uranus is very that way. So he would be the modern ruler of the sign of Aquarius. Uranus himself, and he's stepping into that which is an air sign, and he's stepping into another air sign, Gemini. So Gemini is often looked at more as like your day-to-day learning, your early learning, your education, your area around, my neighborhood, my community, my siblings, that sort of energy. And then Uranus is bigger. Uranus is even off planet kind of collective groups, etc. So we have Uranus, this planet that is the ruler of Aquarius, coming into Gemini to blow our minds open, to basically like somebody coming into a school and saying, do you want to be an astronaut? This is what you can achieve. Or do you want to, whatever it is, like examples escape me right now, but really completely outside of the box thinking. Okay, so we've just looked at all of the cards simultaneously, but there we go. Okay, the World card is the final card of the major arcana, and it speaks to completions. And I mean, quite literally, we have completed the cycle of Uranus in Taurus. He will dip back his toe back in. Remember, these like really slow moving outer planets spend a lot of time retrograding, about half the year actually. And so they will dip their toe often when they're changing signs, just like we saw for a couple of years with Pluto moving between Capricorn and Aquarius, where he is now still going to be only in Aquarius for the next 20 years-ish. We are going to be watching Neptune do the same, and for that matter, Saturn, going back as he's already retrograde and Saturn stationing retrograde. They're going to go back from Aries into Pisces and then back into Aries again. So this is this straddling two archetypes. And now this is Uranus is beginning that same process. So he will come into Gemini, dip back into Taurus, but not for as long. These planets will be shorter than the Pluto story, because Pluto's the slowest. So the slowest one is going to do that the most, basically. So we have completed a big cycle, because with Uranus stepping into Gemini, we now have all the outers, or the modern planets, the ones we couldn't see before the invention of a telescope. They've all moved from feminine signs into masculine signs. So the feeling of speed and trajectory that we're having is like intense. And it's going to be more intense now that Uranus, this speedy guy, has stepped into this speedy sign. So definitely that's why I've got a lot of grounding energy in this reading, for this reading, not so much in this reading. There's not so much grounding support in this reading, but it feels like there is tips and tools on how to stay grounded. So one of them is to draw from what we've learned from the feminine. The feminine energy has been building and rising and becoming more understood and more known after many, many hundreds of years of patriarchy knocking it out. And so now we need to hold on to that. How do I nourish my body? Body is more feminine in nature. This is not about male or female. It's more energetic and frequency. I need to look after my body. I need to stay embodied. I cannot go off planet. I need to be in my body. That's what I'm meant to be doing here. I need to do grounding practices and regulate my nervous system type of practices and do inner work, self-reflection. This is reflecting via the mind. This is reflecting via the heart. And so very much we have completed a cycle, but we need to stay in our lane. And also, what is a completion but a new beginning? It's the death rebirth cycle in many ways. So here we have a completion followed directly by a beginning. Aces are new beginnings. As I said, mental, intellectual. We are going to completely be able to see the world in a different way. And you can see the completion almost of these sacred geometric shapes. It's almost like we've downloaded certain coding into our system, into our DNA. I mean, we are unlocking more of our DNA than we ever have before. Like, these are scientifically proven things popping left and right. And Uranus is very science as well, for that matter. And then here you can see new ideas, new concepts, again, bringing in these, look, there's even the sign for Mercury there. Do you see that? The infinity. Whole processes going on here. I love this spiral staircase that starts around her spine and moves up into her mind, because the energy of the chakras and the many, whether you're looking at the Sanskrit, the ancient Indian, or the Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine, so much is going on at that spine, from your chakras to your Ida, Pingala, Sushumna energy channels to your meridian channels. This is an important sort of space, the spine and the energy of your spine. And that spiraling of it, literally doing spiraling movements, whether it's twists, whether it's any kinds of spinal rotations. I don't know how much yoga everybody has or how much movement consciousness everybody has, but these are really, really good for regulating your nervous system, because your central nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. So please figure out how to regulate your nervous system. And I know this can be hard, but it's actually going to get harder with Uranus and Gemini. So all the practices you have already been learning, that you have been integrating, bring them in. And if you haven't been, it's never too late to start learning, okay? I do have an online yoga class once a week on a Monday evening, and I do a lot of work with regulating the nervous system and a lot of somatic type yoga. It's a real amalgamation of different styles of yoga that I've practiced over the years, and channeling intuitively. Speaking of channeling intuitively, the Queen of Cups, that is her total modus operandi. She has learned how to trust her intuition, how to read her intuition, which is a very symbolic language. In order to do that well, you have to do deep self-reflection. I mean, anybody who knows me knows I'm a journal queen, because you have to become discerning. Is this mine or is this somebody else's? Is this something I'm working through in my psyche, or has this been picked up from the collective? And sometimes it's a bit of the both, and it's both mine and it's collective. If you're working with clients, for example, you definitely need to say, oh, I recognize this theme. I have a similar process, but I'm not triggered into mine right now. This is not about me. I can use what I know from this particular storyline to support this person, but this is their story. So that Queen of Cups is quite demanding of us to stay attuned to our body, to stay attuned to our heart, to stay true to what we are picking up. But you need to develop that self-awareness and be deeply self-reflective and open. And it can feel very scary and vulnerable and emotional, because it is an emotional element. But she is this beautiful, clear channel because of that. And it takes work and it takes time, and it's unseen work. Nobody will realize the work that you put in to being that person. And then, of course, we have the Sun card, which is just this glorious infusion of the sun's energy. And the sun is dynamic, intense, powerful, potent, really drives us to be inspired and inspiring, and to go in the direction that inspires us. Definitely leading you to what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure. Go there, attract those things into your life, and be that magnetic force. So it's like, be the sun in the world. Allow your light to infuse on others. when they need a recharge. Think of the sun as a battery. Think of the sun as a golden elixir. How can you be more, especially if you drew card number 4, how can I be more sun-like? And a lot of that comes to know who you are. Be a clear vessel, a clear channel, and then just shine. That's all it is. I mean, it sounds so simple, and in many ways it is, but we're human, so it's not that easy, even though it is simple. Clear your mind, be open to new beginnings, keep your channels of energy clear, keep your heart open, and let yourself shine and inspire and be inspired. Find what ignites and excites you, because we're in a huge new cycle here, and that took a lot to get there. And all the lessons we've learned from all the cycles we've completed, they are there, they are locked in. They have been downloaded into us, and we are totally ready for this exciting new beginning. And as positive as this reading is, it's not always going to feel fun. I just want to point that out. And that's normal. That's okay. But try to hold on to this and remember, all I've got to do, clear my mind, be open to new ideas, be open to anything, clear my heart, my emotions, be a clear channel, be open for anything, and be this beautiful, radiating, sunny person in the world. And that doesn't mean you don't have bad moods. The sun goes down and sleeps at night. Obviously not really, but from the perspective of Earth. So you don't have to be on all the time. In fact, you need to come back and do this work and do this work and do the cycles. You need to, so that when you're on, you're this, okay? You're not this all the time. It's impossible to be just the sunny, radiating ball of joy all the time, because that's like toxic positivity, because anybody who's sunny all the time is pretending, or they haven't done the work, okay? Keep doing the work. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please get in touch with me, because we have to do the work. All of us, we have to. It is our duty and responsibility to this changing world. And it's not always easy. It's mucky and gritty and worth it. You're worth it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes, shares, and subscribes. This has gotten a little longer than usual, but it is an exciting week. See you next week.